that would depend on the focus of the thing, like focus of the weekend. Most, if you get into like the country type thing and the bluegrass stuff, most of those bands hardly ever, you'll hardly find a band that'll play more than an hour. Just because of the nature of who they are. Same way when you get into tribute bands. Most of them play an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Get into the jam band scenes, a lot of those bands are going, I'll give us 3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay? So it really would depend on the event, what style. Because when you get into the jam band stuff, people want to stretch out. They have plenty of time to stretch out. They'd love to. Is there another chair back in there, or is that it? All the chairs we got?
I like standing.
Oh, you're cool, John?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm cool.
Okay.
What if we did events where we had like 3 or 4 classical acts, then we had like 3 or 4 EDM, and then 3 or 4 acoustic, 3 or 4 jam, and then like 3 or 4 something else, and so it'd be like, a well-rounded atmosphere, so then you'd have people from all over coming in at all times. Like, so instead of just doing one specific festival, like a roots rock reggae, you have roots rock reggae, EDM, classical, and something else.
We could do one event a year that was deliberately mixing everything, genres together. Yes.
Mashup weekend. Or something
Yes,
like
a mashup weekend. Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't object at all to do something like that. But we shouldn't do that too often because that's what festivals already are.
Yeah.
And we have to be distinctive from all the other little fests too. I don't want to put anybody else out of business either for what they're doing. You make a lot of enemies that way. Want to make enemies. But if we specialize, then we tend not because, we are specializing. So most of the stuff I want to do would be specialty weekends. But hell, once in a while, throw a mashup in and be cool.
What are the turnouts like at events up here? Like if, I don't know what venues they're going to, but like if a mid-sized rock band comes to town or EDM performance, I mean, like, do they get 5,000 people, or is it, or do they get 2,000 people, or 500 people?
Well, it depends. If you go up to the big stadium, what's it, Kleepoff?
Deer Creek.
Or Deer Creek,
That's
the old
what
damn Verizon Center. This is the one that got started a long time ago when everybody started the big venue thing. They can hold, 30,000 people or something like that up there for shows? I don't know what they normally get.
40 might be
40,000?
their max.
Okay.
Because they've got a second stage area too.
Okay. So they'll bring in that depending on who's playing. But if you go like a free, say like Hyperion, I don't know what they brought in this year. I think it was on the down.
Yeah.
But when Hyperion started, Hyperion easily got 2,000 to 3,000 people would come to that, and that would be like a jam, kind of a state-of-the-art local jam fan fest. Resonance is going this weekend in Ohio. They'll probably get 15,000 people, my guess, for that. In Ohio, every weekend there's at least 3 festivals going on. Ohio's like vibrant. It's stunning. So it's people that live on the coast don't understand the Midwest. The Midwest may not be loud and obnoxious and out there in the media, but the Midwest has more going on in it, in the grassroots, than anybody realizes unless you live here. If you just throw a small local festival, you might get 500 people. So like, what do they call it? I'm trying to remember the name of the festival. Oh, Good People, Good Times. Maybe gets 500 people, 500 to 1,000. And they have a bunch of same bands that play at the other ones, but they just aren't that big. So they just don't get that big of people. Getting 5,000 would be, if you were throwing, say Kodo came, International Drumming Group, comes and plays at Indiana University, they're going to get 5,000 people crammed in that auditorium for sure.
Alright, so there's a market then.
Oh yeah, there's a market. And also, when you look at the number of people who go to shows as opposed to the number of people who are in the world who could potentially go to shows, there's a monstrous market because there's enough people in the world and enough people in the vicinity, especially if you're between three major cities. Oh, there's plenty of people. It's reaching them and getting them to come, and that's the key. And that doesn't bridge out to these other subgroups that we're listing, where we have to be very careful with our image in that we aren't just pegged as, oh, just a jam band place. Because then that'll keep out all these other subgroups. We have to be really careful with that. We might actually be behind the scenes, that kind of people who like, and we might be just putting on the false smile for the kind of music we don't really like, but we're still good to the customer and blah, blah, for that weekend, you know, because that's what we do, you know, and, you know, but if we get pinned as one thing, we'll get stuck as one thing, and it won't work, you know, so, you know, that's going to be key. And yes, I can dress nice if I have to. I did it for my daughter's wedding.
One thing that I really like to do is go to see lectures. And I have seen Ralph Nader speak twice. I've seen the Reverend Bishop Desmond Tutu. I've seen Reuben Hurricane Carter. And these are all free events at the universities, U of K, Berea, Kentucky, things like that. But that's something that could be discussed as far as, you know, charging for those events.
We
but
could get in touch with Ted and ask them if they wanted to rent the facility for the weekend for a major
That's what I was
TED
driving
event.
at.
Yep.
That's what I was driving at. Getting lecturers there, I think, would be a good option.
Yep. You could have the whole weekend of nothing but the best speakers. Yes. Yep.